What's up, guys? It's me, your boy Loki, the #1 most famous VTuber in the world. Do not look that up. So this video is going to be a little bit different from what I usually do. There's no script or anything. I'm just kind of going through a bunch of talking points I want to get through and just kind of ad-libbing it, just kind of going for it. So if it sounds like this is unscripted and unfocused, that's because it is. And if it turns out really bad, I won't do it again, but I wanted to give it a try. So Star Citizen has been around for a long time now and has gone through a lot of changes. I've been playing since at least 3.14. That's the earliest patch that I can remember being like cognizant of. You know, that's when I started being aware of the patch numbers. But I think I was playing a little bit earlier than that, but I don't remember. And over the course of that time, they've made a ton of changes. Some good, some bad. Some that I just have personal gripes and nitpicks about. On the side of good things, there's been things like the physicalization of cargo. Now that's extremely tedious, but it's realistic and it's immersive and it's cool and it creates all kinds of gameplay opportunities and employment opportunities, especially for newer players who, you know, don't know which way is up. There have been some smaller changes that most people are probably fine with or even approve of, but I'm not super fond of the changes they've made to the HUD and the MFDs. I like some changes. Like, I don't think the game used to have a VSI, a vertical speed indicator, and that's extremely helpful. Super helpful for not crashing into the ground when you're on the dark side of a moon and, you know, hurtling toward the surface at 1,000 meters per second. I kind of miss the way certain aspects of the HUD and the MFDs used to look, though. Like, I like the way the scanner used to be, where it was very kind of analog, kind of, you know, gives you the vibes of Alien, where especially on the Drake radar, it was just like a circle or two circles with red dots, and they were either solid or hollow, I think, if they were behind you or in front of you. It was cool. It gave you all the information that you needed to be able to locate the other ships, like, you know, spatially relative to you without having to go too far into super hyper futuristic holograms like they have now and like Elite Dangerous has. They keep changing the game to get like closer and closer to Elite Dangerous, and that really bothers me. I like Star Citizen. I like the differences between, you know, Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous. Like, Elite is fine for what it is, but Star Citizen has this like grittier, more grounded, realistic feel to it, and they just keep kind of, in my opinion, getting further and further away from that in a lot of respects. Like, one, for example, is it didn't used to be that laser weapons had like a super specific shot limit and afterburners had this like meter that you could go through and then you had to wait for it to recharge. That just feels really video gamey and arcadey to me, and I do not like it. Back when I first started playing, you could fire a laser weapon indefinitely. Like, you could shoot it forever. But the longer you shot it, the hotter the weapons got. And if you kept shooting it after the weapons got hot, then you were running the risk of having the laser weapon malfunction or just cease to function completely. So there was high risk, high reward for longer, you know, bursts of laser fire. I thought that was much cooler, much more realistic than what we have now with the, again, the Elite Dangerous style shot limit for each laser weapon that has to be periodically recharged. And the afterburners used to work almost identically to that, where you could just hit your afterburner and you can ride it for as long as you wanted to. However, the longer you kept your afterburners running, the hotter it would get, and then you could have a catastrophic engine failure, and either it would not work correctly anymore, it wouldn't produce as much thrust, or if you really, really pushed it, the engine could just give out completely. Didn't it feel a little more realistic than it does now? And if you didn't play back then, doesn't that sound more realistic? Like, don't you want to give that a try now? I really wish they would go back to that. I can see why maybe the laser weapons need to have like some limits. Maybe we could compromise. Like, maybe we go back to where you could shoot them indefinitely, but they heat up a lot faster. It'd be kind of the same as it is now, where there is a shot limit, but it would be less artificial, more immersive, and you could push it. You know, you could push the ship a little further than the manufacturer recommends, at the cost of potentially doing damage and really landing yourself in hot water in the middle of a dogfight. Other small things that I don't love are weapon master modes. You got your quantum travel mode and your combat mode, and in your combat mode you have access to everything like your weapons and your shields and whatnot, but your speed is drastically reduced. And in nav mode you have access to your quantum drive and you can fly way faster than you can in your combat mode. You have the full access to the full range of speed that your ship possesses, but you can't have your shields up. I'm sure somebody somewhere could make sense of that in the lore, like here's why that's the case. But again, it feels super artificial and very video gamey and arcadey, and it didn't used to be like that. You used to have full range of your ship's accessible speed all the time, and then be able to activate your quantum drive and still have your shields on. I don't think you could shoot your weapons when your quantum drive was on, but I guess that one made sense. I have no complaints about that. I would whine more about this state of master modes, but I do think that they plan on making changes to it, so I'll just let that one go for now. They made some pretty drastic changes to the hangar system. If you only just recently started playing, this probably makes sense. You go to the ASOP terminal, you call your ship, and it gives you access to your specific hangar. And to a certain extent, that actually does make sense. Like, I think at an airport, you wouldn't be able to just go to the elevator and say, I want to go to Hangar 10, and then it just brings you to Hangar 10. So it does kind of make sense that you have to get the proper clearance to go to your specific hangar, but it doesn't make sense that if somebody wants to be super sneaky and get into the elevator with you and then sneak into your hangar, they get teleported out of your hangar. And that's one of the changes that I think that they've had to make on account of griefing, which is extremely disappointing, because that's going to continue. We're going to keep losing and losing and losing more immersive and realistic features because this game's player base can't behave itself. But that is a discussion for another time. So, hangars. You can only go to your hangar, you can't go to any other hangar, and if you try to get sneaky with it and go to somebody else's hangar, like follow them to it, the game will forcibly teleport you out of it, which is stupid. The only way to go to somebody else's hangar is to be in their party. And then, from there, there's some grievances as well, because you can't have your party member open up their hangar, and then you fly your ship into their hangar, which is frustrating, because you may be partying up with somebody who has a large ship and has room in it, in like a hangar somewhere for your small fighter, and you can't just fly into their hangar and land in their ship's hangar, because if you do, your vehicle will be impounded. And this is the case even if you're in a party. And I just think that's really frustrating, because now if you want to party up, you have to bring the big ship all the way up into space to get your party membership onto your ship. And that can be really frustrating if, let's say, you want to do like a big party, like you want to do carrier operations with your Idris, and you have to have each one of your party members individually come and meet you in space instead of just being able to load up in the hangar and then take off. And I don't know. I don't think it's very realistic. I don't think it's very fun. It's frustrating. I think, though, that the change that bothers me the most is security post Korea. It used to be that when you had a crime stat, like a CS3, and you had a bounty on you, there were several locations around Stanton that you could go to get rid of that crime stat, similarly to how you do it at SPK. I want to say each system had one security post, and they were usually on a moon or something. And that sounds broken, like it sounds like you shouldn't have access to all that, but what's the alternative? People with bounties on their heads can only go to one location to remove their bounty. So what do you have to do if you're a bounty hunter? You just have to stay at SPK and camp there, because anybody who wants to get rid of their crime stat has to come to you. And that is boring. And I don't really have anything else to say about that. That's just boring. That's just super boring. So the alternative used to be that you could go to these other sites around Stanton to get rid of your crime stat. And I had this one bounty that I was doing where this system really shone. I went after a bounty target, right? And I got right next to him. And right before I could start shooting, he activated his quantum drive and he jumped away. So at first, I had no idea where he was going, so I kind of just had to sit there and wait and see where he was going to pop up. Back then, a bounty target didn't just always show on the map. They would only show up if they were in monitored space, like near a planet or a moon. However, if they turned on their mobiGlass while they were in quantum, then they would show up in that location, like you'd get a ping, and it would show that as their last known location. So what happened was, I was waiting to see where this bounty target was going to pop up, and he turned on his mobiGlass while he was in quantum. So I was able to compare where he was then to where he was before, and then kind of trace a line between those 2 points and find out where he was heading. I forget where. I think he was going to Microtech, to the moon there that had the security post. Since I had an XL1 because I was equipped for bounty hunting, I was able to actually get there faster than he did. And since I already knew where he was going, I landed far off from the security post, and I got on my Gravlev bike, and then by the time he finally got to the security post to come and clear his crime stat, I was already there waiting for him. And that's the case now with Security Post Korea, but it was way cooler that I had to, like, deduce where he was heading and meet him there, instead of just being like, oh, he wants to get rid of his crime stat. He's obviously going to SPK. That's just my 2 cents. Like, again, they've made a lot of cool changes, and they've made some poo-poo ones. Like, I think fighting the worm is cool, but I think the approach to it is pretty lame. It's got this very, like, Fortnite event/live service game kind of vibe to it, and I don't care for that very much. But other changes I like. I can't really think of any at the moment, but I swear the game is getting better. It's getting more playable. I miss the NPCs that you used to have to talk to, like Miles Eckhart and Twitch and Constance Hurston, whatever his name was. I miss that. That felt very grounded and immersive, and you felt like a real space mercenary going to meet his client and talk out the job before you go to do it. And now everything is just through your mobiGlas, and it's incredibly boring. There is things like Gillies and flight patrol missions where you have an NPC talking to you through your mobiGlas, which is a step up from the normal stuff, but I still miss having to go see people in person, and I'm sure that's going to come back, and I can't wait until it does. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much my 2 cents on the changes that they're making and stuff that they're getting rid of and stuff that they're adding. I just really hope that we can kind of move back toward the hyper-immersive direction that the game kind of used to have, and really just steer far, far, far away from, like, arcade flight sim kind of stuff. Steer far away from becoming more and more like Elite Dangerous. And definitely steer away from events that feel like live service slop, because no thank you. That's a big no thank you from yours truly. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up before I really start to ramble. Thank you for listening to my nonsense, and I will see you guys out there in the verse. Before I go, I just wanted to say thank you. Even though I only recently started my Patreon, I already have a patron. So thank you very much once again to Korn. I appreciate you more than words can express. And if you like what I do and want to help me do it more and do it better and have your name show up in these videos, there's a link to my Patreon in the description. But if not, if you wouldn't mind just hitting the old thumbs up button and subscribing, that would help a ton too. Either way, thank you very much for watching.